The exploration vessel Astra 9 entered orbit without ceremony. No alarms. No anomalies. No reason to hesitate. Commander Elias Varn stood at the forward observation pane, watching the planet turn slowly beneath them, a muted sphere of ash-gray land and dim blue oceans, veiled in thin clouds. It was unremarkable by every measurable standard. Gravity, 0.94 Earth normal. Atmosphere, breathable with minimal filtration. Magnetic field, stable. Another catalog world, muttered Lien from behind him. We log it, name it, and forget it. Elias didn't answer immediately. Something about the planet unsettled him, not in any measurable way, but in the quiet instinct that had kept him alive through 13 deep-range missions. Set descent vector, he said at last. The landing was smooth. Too smooth. The Astra 9 settled onto a wide plain of dark, compacted soil, its landing struts adjusting automatically. No wind disturbed the dust. No wildlife moved in the distance. Even the sky seemed oddly still, as if painted rather than alive. Surface conditions nominal, the ship's AI reported. No immediate hazards detected. Of course not, Lien said dryly, sealing her helmet. Because that would be interesting. Elias almost smiled. Almost. The hatch opened with a low hiss. Elias stepped out first. His boots pressed into the soil with a familiar weight, just slightly lighter than Earth, exactly as predicted. He took another step. Then another. Normal. Behind him, the rest of the crew followed. Lien, Engineer Tomas, and Medic Eris. Their voices crackled softly over comms as they began routine procedures, placing markers, scanning minerals, logging atmospheric readings. Gravity feels consistent, Tomas said. No fluctuations. Matches orbital scans, Eris added. Nothing unusual. Elias exhaled slowly. Maybe his instincts had been wrong this time. Then he saw the rock. It was small, no larger than his fist, resting near his boot. At first, he didn't notice anything strange about it. Until it moved. Not rolled. Not slipped. The rock slid across the ground in a straight line, sideways, toward the horizon. Elias froze. Did anyone see that? He asked. See what? Lien replied. He crouched, eyes fixed on the stone. It had stopped now, as if nothing had happened. Probably surface shift, Tomas said. Loose soil. Elias frowned. The ground wasn't loose. It was compact, almost fused. He reached down and picked up the rock. It felt normal in his hand. Solid. Weight consistent. He let it drop. The rock fell straight down, for a fraction of a second. Then, mid-fall, it tilted, as if an invisible hand had caught it, and slid off at an angle, skimming the ground before coming to rest several meters away. Silence filled the comms. That, Lien said slowly, was not normal. They began testing immediately. Tomas deployed a probe, a small, spherical drone designed to map gravitational vectors. It hovered briefly, then dropped. At first, it behaved exactly as expected, descending toward the ground. Then its trajectory bent. Not curved gently like an orbit, but sharply, as if gravity itself had changed direction mid-flight. The probe skidded across the surface, then lifted slightly, pulled along an invisible path before settling. Tomas stared at the readings streaming across his display. That's impossible, he whispered. Define impossible, Elias said. Gravity doesn't just change direction like that. Not locally. Not without a massive object nearby. Lien scanned the horizon. There's nothing here. Exactly. Elias took a slow step forward. The ground beneath him felt solid. Stable. He took another step. Still normal. Then on the third step, his stomach lurched. For a split second, it felt like the ground had tilted beneath him, like standing on a ship cresting a wave. His balance shifted instinctively, muscles reacting before his mind could process what was happening. Then it was gone. He steadied himself. Did you feel that? He asked. Feel what? Eris replied. Elias hesitated. Nothing, he said. Probably just me. But it wasn't. Commander, the AI's voice cut in, calm and precise. Updated gravitational analysis indicates minor inconsistencies in local vector alignment. Inconsistencies? Elias repeated. Gravity is not uniformly directed toward the planetary center. The pause. That's not possible, Lien said. Correction, the AI replied. It is not expected. The crew fell silent. Elias looked out across the plain again. The horizon seemed wrong. He hadn't noticed it before, but now it was impossible to ignore. The line where land met sky wasn't smooth. It dipped and curved in subtle, unnatural ways, as if the world itself had been bent. Place more markers, he ordered. Grid pattern. I want a full map of this area. The team moved quickly, setting small beacons at regular intervals. At first, everything appeared stable. Then the first marker moved. It didn't fall. It didn't tip. It simply slid, slowly at first, then faster, drawn along an unseen path across the ground. A second marker followed. Then a third. Each one drifting in a different direction. Elias felt a cold weight settle in his chest. Everyone back to the ship, he said. No one argued. As they turned, Lien suddenly stopped. Commander! Elias followed her gaze. Ahead of them, a patch of ground shimmered faintly, not visually, but in the way the air felt, like heat rising from metal. Tomas took a cautious step toward it. Wait, Elias began. Too late. The moment Tomas crossed the invisible boundary, his body jerked sideways. He didn't fall. He was pulled. He hit the ground and slid, boots scraping uselessly against the surface as he was dragged several meters before coming to a sudden stop. Tomas! Eris shouted. I'm okay, he gasped. He tried to stand. He couldn't. His body was angled unnaturally, as if gravity itself had rotated around him. I can't, his voice tightened. I can't get up. Elias stared. The realization hit him with quiet, terrifying clarity. This planet didn't just have gravity. It had different gravities. And they were everywhere. He looked back at the ship, suddenly very far away. Then at the shifting markers. Then at Tomas, pinned by an invisible force. And for the first time since landing, Elias Varn understood. They hadn't just arrived on a new world. They had stepped into something they did not understand. Something that did not obey the rules. Something that might not let them leave. Tomas lay pinned against the ground, but not quite on it. Elias forced himself forward, each step cautious, measured. His boots still felt anchored downward, but the sensation was no longer trustworthy. The world had already proven that down was negotiable. Don't move, Elias said. We'll pull you out. I'm not moving, Tomas replied through clenched teeth. Something else is. His body was tilted at a strange angle, like a marionette caught between invisible strings. One arm pressed flat against the soil, while the other hung awkwardly upward, except it wasn't upward, not really. It was simply being pulled in a different direction. Lien circled carefully, scanning. Gravity vector here is rotated about 40 degrees off baseline, she said. But it's not stable, it's fluctuating. Meaning? Eris asked. Meaning if we step wrong, we might end up like him. Elias exhaled slowly. We anchor. They deployed a tether line from the Astronine, firing a magnetic spike deep into the compact ground behind them. Elias clipped himself in, then handed a second line to Lien. Slow and steady, he said. No sudden movements. He stepped closer to Tomas. The moment his boot crossed the invisible boundary, the world tilted. Not visually. Physically. His stomach dropped as the pole shifted sideways, dragging at his legs. The tether snapped taut, keeping him from sliding fully into the field. Easy, Lien warned. I've got it, Elias said, though his voice was tighter now. He leaned into the force, muscles straining, and reached out a hand. Tomas. Grab on. Tomas tried. His fingers brushed Elias's glove, but the angle was wrong. The pull on his body twisted his reach, making even simple movement feel distorted. I can't line up, Tomas said, panic creeping in. It's like, my arm doesn't belong to me. Focus, Elias said. Follow my voice. Adjust to my position, not yours. Tomas swallowed hard and tried again. This time, their hands locked. Pull! Elias shouted. Lien braced and hauled on the tether. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Tomas moved. Not toward them, but sideways, dragged along the strange vector. His body scraped across the ground, twisting as competing forces fought over him. Keep pulling. Elias strained. The tether groaned. And then, Tomas broke free. He slammed into Elias, knocking them both back across the boundary. The pole vanished instantly, replaced by normal gravity. They lay there for a second, breathing hard. Then Tomas let out a shaky laugh. I hate this planet. No argument here, Lien muttered. They retreated a few meters, putting distance between themselves and the anomaly. Report, Elias said. Tomas sat up slowly, flexing his arms. No fractures. Feels like I got stretched in 3 directions at once, but I'll live. Eris scanned him. Vitals elevated but stable. Elias nodded, then looked back at the shimmering patch. Mark it. Lien deployed a beacon at the edge of the field. The moment it activated, it slid. Not far, but enough to make everyone freeze. It moved, Eris said unnecessarily. Everything moves here, Tomas replied. They continued their survey, but now every step carried tension. Markers drifted. Tools shifted. Even the air felt subtly wrong, like pressure changing in ways their suits couldn't fully compensate for. Then Lien stopped. Commander, look. Elias followed her gaze. In the distance, the terrain rose into what looked like a ridge, but it didn't behave like one. The slope curved unnaturally, bending in a way that made it hard to judge distance or angle. Let's get a closer look, Elias said. Are you sure that's wise? Eris asked. No, Elias replied. But we need to understand what we're dealing with. They approached the ridge carefully, laying tethers as they went. Halfway there, the ground shifted again. Not under their feet, but around them. Elias felt it first, a subtle pull at his left side, like a current in water. His body leaned involuntarily. Vector change, Lien said sharply. 10 degrees, 15, it's increasing. Hold position, Elias ordered. Too late. Eris took a step, just one, and vanished. Not dropped. Not pulled down. She simply fell sideways, her body yanked sharply to the right, disappearing over the ridge in an instant. Eris! Tomas shouted. Elias lunged forward instinctively, and nearly followed her. The tethers snapped tight, jerking him back as the sideways pull intensified. Don't! Lien grabbed his arm. You'll get taken too. Elias clenched his jaw, forcing himself to stop. Eris, respond, he called. Static. I'm here. Her voice came through, strained but alive. I didn't fall far, just wrong direction. Status. I'm standing, she said. But I don't think I'm below you. Elias frowned. What does that mean? The pause. It means, Eris said slowly, I think I'm standing on the side of the ridge. Elias exchanged a look with Lien. That's not possible, Tomas said. Neither is any of this, Lien replied. Can you climb back? Elias asked. I don't think so, Eris said. If I move, the pull shifts. I almost slipped again just trying to turn. Stay still, Elias said. We'll come to you. You can't, she replied. Why not? Another pause. Then quietly. Because from where I'm standing, you're not above me. Elias felt a chill run through him. Then where are we? He asked. Eris's answer came back, barely more than a whisper. Sideways. The team stood frozen. The ridge ahead of them no longer looked like terrain. It looked like a boundary. A fracture in the rules of the world. Commander, Lien said, her voice tight, we need to get back to the ship. Elias didn't argue. Agreed. We regroup, reassess, and come back with better data. And Eris? Tomas asked. Elias hesitated. Then he looked at the ridge again, at the invisible forces twisting space into something unrecognizable. We don't leave anyone behind, he said firmly. But we don't lose anyone else either. He keyed his comm. Eris, hold your position. We're returning to the ship for equipment. We'll find a way to reach you. A long pause. I'll be here, she said. They turned back. But as they walked, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that the ground beneath them was no longer the same. That the path they had taken might not lead them back. Behind them, unseen, the markers shifted again. Slowly, deliberately, as if the planet itself were rearranging the board, and the crew were pieces caught in its game. The Astronine was still visible. That was the only reassuring thing. A dull, metallic shape against the gray plane, unchanged, unmoving, real. Elias fixed his eyes on it as he led the team back, one slow step at a time. Keep your tethers tight, he said. No drifting. No argument, Tomas muttered, gripping his line like it was the only solid truth left. Behind them, the ridge and Eris had vanished from sight. Not hidden. Gone. As if the terrain had folded over itself and erased the path entirely. They walked for 10 minutes. Then 20. The ship did not get closer. Elias stopped. That's not right, Lien said quietly. No, he agreed. It isn't. They checked their trackers. Coordinates still locked onto the Astronine. Distance unchanged. That's impossible, Tomas said. We've been moving straight toward it. Elias looked down. His boots were pointed toward the ship. But the faint drag in his body, subtle, constant, was pulling him slightly to the left. Adjust heading, he said. Compensate for drift. They angled their steps. For a moment, it worked. The ship grew closer. Then the ground shifted again. It started as a tremor, not in the soil but in their bodies. Elias felt his weight redistribute, like standing on a slope that didn't exist. Vector change, Lien warned. Multiple sources this time. Define multiple, Tomas said. Before she could answer, his feet left the ground. Not by jumping. Not by falling. By being pulled. Whoa! Tomas yelped as his body slid sideways, boots scraping uselessly. The tether snapped taut. He jerked to a stop mid-motion, suspended at an angle that made no sense. Hold him! Elias shouted. I've got him! Lien braced, digging her boots into the soil. Elias moved to help, and felt it. The pull. Stronger this time. Not a single direction, but several, overlapping, competing. His body tilted forward, then sideways, then slightly upward. Everyone anchor, he barked. Too late. The ground ahead of them shimmered. Not visibly, but physically, like reality itself had become unstable. A small piece of debris, one of their earlier markers, drifted into the area. It didn't fall. It spiraled, slowly at first, then faster, tracing a tightening curve through the air before stopping, hovering, suspended. Don't go near that, Lien said. Elias didn't need the warning. He recognized it instantly. A well, he said. The term came naturally. It wasn't a hole in the ground. It was a hole in gravity. Back away, Elias ordered. They tried. But the pull was increasing. Tomas groaned as his body shifted again, dragged closer to the invisible center. I'm slipping. Dig in. Elias shouted. I am. The tether strained. Elias could feel it through his suit, a deep, vibrating tension, like the line was being stretched beyond its limits. Another marker drifted into the field. It joined the first, orbiting slowly. Then a third. And a fourth. All circling the same unseen point. Commander, Lien's voice was tight. We're not dealing with one vector anymore. I know. It's radial, she said. Everything's being pulled inward. Elias nodded grimly. A gravity well, he said. Localized. Tomas let out a shaky laugh. You say that like it's normal. It's not, Elias replied. But it's what we've got. The pull intensified. Elias felt his boots begin to slide. Not much, but enough. Everywhere crawl, he said. Lower your center of mass. They dropped to their knees, then to their hands, spreading their weight across the ground. It helped. Barely. Distance to center? Elias asked. Lien checked her scanner. It's not fixed, she said. It's moving. Elias blinked. Moving. Just slowly. Toward us. The realization hit like a shockwave. It's expanding, Tomas said. Or drifting, Lien replied. Doesn't matter, Elias said sharply. We're in its path. Tomas's tether snapped. The sound was sharp, final. For a split second, nothing happened. Then he was pulled. Elias, he shouted as his body slid across the ground, accelerating toward the invisible center. Elias lunged forward, grabbing for him. Their hands connected. For a moment, Elias thought he had him. Then the pull doubled. Elias's own body jerked forward, dragged along with Tomas. Cut the line. Lien yelled. I can't. You have to. Elias looked at Tomas. Fear filled his eyes, but beneath it, something else. Understanding. Do it, Tomas said. Elias hesitated. Just for a second. Then he released him. Tomas was pulled away instantly. His body slid into the center of the well. And stopped. He didn't fall. He didn't vanish. He hung there. Suspended in midair, limbs slightly spread, as if caught in invisible currents. His body trembled, not from pain, but from the strain of opposing forces pulling at him from every direction. He gasped. I'm stuck. Elias stared. Tomas, can you move? The pause. No, he said. Every direction feels wrong. Try your thrusters. Tomas activated them. For a moment, his body shifted, then snapped back into place. Not enough, he said. I'm at the bottom of something. Elias clenched his fists. Lien, options. She shook her head. Nothing we have can generate enough force to counter that pull. Not without risking all of us. Tomas laughed weakly. Figures, he said. Trapped by invisible gravity. That's a new one. Stay calm, Elias said. We'll find a way. Commander, Tomas's voice softened. You need to move. Elias didn't answer. The well's still shifting, Lien added. If we stay, we'll get pulled in too. Elias looked at Tomas, floating, helpless, alive. Then at the ship, still distant. Then at the ground beneath him, no longer trustworthy. Tomas, he said quietly, we're going to get help. Better equipment. We'll come back for you. Tomas nodded. I know, he said. The beat. Just don't take too long. Elias swallowed hard. We won't. They backed away slowly, every movement deliberate. The pull weakened with distance. But it never fully disappeared. Elias didn't look back. He couldn't. Behind them, Tomas remained suspended in the gravity well, caught between forces that refused to let him fall, or rise, or escape. A prisoner of something unseen. Something that didn't just bend gravity, but used it to trap. And as the crew moved farther away, the well shifted again. Slowly, silently, following them. They ran. Not fast, not recklessly, but faster than before, driven by something deeper than fear. Instinct. The kind that whispered, leave before the world changes again. The Astra 9 was still ahead of them. Still visible. Still unreachable. Distance hasn't changed, Lien said, her voice strained. We should be there by now. Elias didn't respond. He already knew. The ground beneath them wasn't just unstable. It was lying. Stay together, he said. No deviations. They moved in a tight formation, tethers clipped, each step deliberate. For a while it worked. The pull stabilized. The horizon, if it could still be called that, held steady. Elias allowed himself a small, dangerous thought. Maybe we're out of it. Then he stepped wrong. It wasn't obvious. No sudden drop. No violent pull. Just a subtle shift, barely noticeable, like stepping onto a slightly tilted surface. But this time, it didn't correct. His foot slid. Then his entire body followed. Elias! Lien shouted. He tried to stop. His boots scraped against the ground, but there was no resistance. The pull wasn't downward anymore. It was forward. Then sideways. He was falling. Except there was no ground. The world curved. The sky twisted. Elias felt his body accelerate, but instead of hitting anything, his trajectory bent. He arced upward, then sideways, then back again. He slammed into nothing. "Commander, respond." Lien's voice crackled through his comm. Elias gasped. "I'm not hitting the ground." His suit sensors flickered wildly. Velocity increasing. Direction constantly shifting. "Your trajectory," Lien's voice cut in, panicked now. "It's looping." She was right. Elias could see it now. The landscape repeated. The same ridge. The same broken marker. The same patch of gray soil. Over and over and over. "I'm orbiting," he said, the realization cold and precise. "I'm in a closed loop. Use your thrusters." Tomas's voice, faint, distant, cut through the comms. Elias fired them. For a moment his path shifted. Hope surged. The loop corrected. Like an invisible track snapping him back into place. "No effect," he said, breath tight. "It's correcting my motion." "Try countervector thrust," Lien said. "I am." Nothing worked. Every adjustment was temporary. Every escape attempt undone. The loop held him. Below, if below meant anything anymore, he caught glimpses of something else. Ships. Movement. Other loops. "Lien," he said slowly, "I'm not alone." There were objects caught in similar paths. Markers. Debris. Fragments of equipment. All circling invisible centers, trapped in their own endless trajectories. Some moved slowly. Others faster. All repeating. Then he saw something that made his chest tighten. A suit. It was distant, hard to see, but unmistakable. A human figure, caught in a looping path just beyond his own. Spinning slowly. Repeating the same arc. Over and over. "Eris?" he called. No response. "Lien, do you have visual on another suit?" he asked. The pause. "Negative," she said. "You're alone from our position." Elias's loop carried him closer. For a brief moment, their paths nearly aligned. He saw the figure clearly. The visor. The posture. The stillness. Not Eris. Older. Damaged. Not from their mission. "Commander," Lien's voice was quieter now. "Your telemetry shows something else." "What?" "There are multiple closed paths in your area," she said. "Dozens. Maybe more." Elias looked around. Now that he knew what to see, it was everywhere. Invisible corridors of motion. Paths carved into gravity itself. Each one a trap. Each one inescapable. "This planet," he whispered. "It's not just unstable. It's structured," Lien said. Elias's loop tightened. He felt it. The curve growing sharper. The pull stronger. "What's happening?" he asked. "It's collapsing inward," Lien said. "Your loop is decaying." "Meaning?" The pause. "You're spiraling toward a center." Elias clenched his jaw. "Like Tomas." "Yes." He fired his thrusters again. Harder this time. Fuel burned fast. The loop widened. For a second. Then snapped back. "No escape," he said quietly. The realization settled in. Heavy. Final. He wasn't falling. He wasn't flying. He wasn't even moving freely. He was contained. "Commander," Lien said, her voice breaking slightly, "we're trying to reach you." "Don't," Elias said immediately. "What?" "You'll get caught too." "We're not leaving you." "That's an order," he snapped. Silence. Elias exhaled slowly. His loop carried him past the same point again. And again. And again. Time began to blur. Not in reality, but in perception. Each cycle felt identical. Endless. "Lien," he said finally, his voice calmer now, "mark this region." "We already are." "Mark it better," he said. "Map the loops. Understand them." The pause. "Why?" Elias watched the path ahead of him repeat. Perfectly. Predictably. "Because this isn't chaos," he said. "It's a system." Another loop. Another pass. A system designed to trap. His voice softened. Almost thoughtful now. "And systems," he said, "can be understood." The loop tightened again. drawing him inward, closer to whatever lay at its center. And for the first time since he began falling, Elias Varn stopped fighting, not because he had given up, but because he had realized something far more dangerous. This planet didn't just trap bodies. It trapped motion. And if he wanted to escape, he would have to stop thinking like something trying to break free, and start thinking like something already caught. Time lost meaning for Elias Varn. There was only the loop, the same arc, the same horizon, the same silent repetition. At first, he counted seconds, then breaths, then cycles. Eventually, even those blurred into something abstract, an awareness without sequence, motion without progress. But his mind did not stop working. It adapted. The loop wasn't random. That was the first truth. Every curve, every shift in direction, every moment of acceleration, it followed a pattern. Subtle, precise, but consistent. A path. A track. Elias stopped firing his thrusters. Stopped resisting. Instead, he watched. Measured. Learned. "Oh yen," he said over comms, his voice calm, too calm. A delay answered him. Then, "Commander? Your signal, it's different." "How long?" he asked. The pause. "You've been in that loop for 6 hours," she said. Elias frowned. "That's not possible." "It is," Lien said. "From our side." Elias looked at the stars. They were moving. Not slowly, like planetary rotation. Too fast. "Time dilation," he said quietly. "Yes," Lien replied. "Localized. The deeper the loop, the stronger it gets." Elias nodded. That confirmed it. This wasn't just gravity. It was space-time manipulation. "Lien," he said, "I need all recorded data on the wells and vector shifts." "You're planning something," she said. "I'm understanding something." The pause. "Sending now." Data flooded his visor. Vector maps. Drift patterns. Field fluctuations. At first, it was chaos. Structure. The loops weren't isolated. They were connected. Not physically, but mathematically. Each one curved toward a deeper point. A center. "Tomas," Elias said, switching channels. Static. Then faintly. "Commander." Elias closed his eyes for a moment. "Tomas, can you still hear me?" "Barely," he said. Signals stretched. "Are you still in the well?" A weak laugh. "Where else would I be?" Elias smiled faintly. "Good," he said. "That's not the word I'd use." "Listen to me," Elias said. "You're not stuck in a random trap. You're in a node." What?" "A point in a system," Elias said. "And that system has a center." Silence. "You're saying this is intentional?" "Yes." Lien cut in. "Commander, deep scans just came through." "Report." "There's something below the crust," she said. "Massive. Structured." Elias's grip tightened. "Define structured." "Artificial." The word hung in the air. "Depth." Elias asked. "Too deep for standard scans," Lien said. "But it's emitting gravitational distortions consistent with everything we're seeing on the surface." Elias looked ahead, at the invisible curve of his loop. At the direction it pulled him. Inward. Always inward. "It's a machine," he said. No one argued. "A gravitational engine," Lien added. "Or something like it." "Not just generating gravity," Elias said. "Controlling it." "Why?" Tomas asked faintly. Elias didn't answer immediately. His loop tightened again, drawing him closer. The pull was stronger now. More focused. Then he saw it. Not directly. Not with his eyes. But in the distortion ahead. A place where space itself seemed to bend more sharply, more deliberately. A focal point. "This isn't a natural system," Elias said slowly. "It's a prison." Silence filled the comms. "For what?" Lien asked. Elias's gaze drifted to the distant loops. To the drifting debris. To the silent figure he had seen earlier. "Not what?" he said. "Who?" "Commander," Lien said urgently, "your loop is collapsing faster now." "I know." "You're being pulled deeper." "I know." "Then do something." Elias exhaled slowly. I am. He adjusted his body. Not fighting the loop, but aligning with it. Matching its curve. Its timing. Its rhythm. What are you doing? Tomas asked. Using it, Elias said. He fired his thrusters. Not against the pull, but with it. For the first time, the loop changed. It didn't break, but it shifted, widened, tilted. Lien's voice sharpened. Your trajectory, it's diverging. Elias smiled. Not diverging, he said. Transitioning. The loops weren't cages. They were pathways. And he had just changed tracks. The world twisted around him. The familiar arc broke, reformed, and dropped him into a new path. A deeper one. The pull intensified instantly. Stronger than anything before. His body strained as gravity pressed from multiple directions at once. Elias! Lien shouted. You're heading straight for the core signal. I know, he said. Then stop. Elias looked ahead. At the growing distortion. At the heart of the system. No, he said. The beat. If this is a prison. The pull surged. The light bent. The world narrowed into a single, inevitable point. Then I need to see what's inside the cell. The signal spiked. Silence. On the surface, Lien and the remaining crew stood frozen. The readings on their displays spiraled out of control, gravity vectors collapsing, time differentials spiking, the entire region destabilizing. Then just as suddenly, everything stopped. The markers fell still. The pull vanished. The horizon straightened. Gravity normalized. For the first time since landing, the planet was quiet. Lien stared at the readings. What just happened? No one answered. Far below the surface, beyond sensors, beyond sight, something had changed. And somewhere in the depths of the planet, where gravity bent and time fractured, Commander Elias Varn was no longer in the loop. He had reached the center, and whatever had built the prison had just been disturbed.